Have you ever felt like you're losing control of your own mind? Like no matter how hard you try to stay calm, something inside you always snaps first? Maybe it's anger that hits before you can stop it, or anxiety that floods in when you least expect it. You tell yourself to stay composed, but your emotions take over. And when it's over, you look back and wonder, why can't I control myself the way I want to? Why do I keep letting my thoughts, my fears, my impulses win? You're not weak, you're human. But there's something most people never learn. Control isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about mastering them. It's about training your mind to obey when the world tries to shake you. You see, every time you react without thinking, your brain is following an old program, a survival code, something wired deep inside you. It's automatic and it's fast. But here's the truth. They're just patterns, and patterns can be rewritten. Most people never take back that power. They spend their lives being controlled by what they feel, controlled by words, by pressure, by fear. They live like puppets, tugged by invisible strings. But once you learn to master your reactions, the strings disappear. You stop being pushed, pulled, and provoked by everything around you. You stop living like a passenger and start moving like the one holding the wheel. Control begins with awareness. The moment you notice your emotions rising, that's the doorway. The pause between what happens and how you respond. It's a small gap, but that's where freedom lives. Most people rush past it. They let the emotion take the lead. But if you can see it, just see it, you can slow it down. You can choose. That's the real power. Not in changing the situation, but in changing the way you show up inside it. The truth is, you can't stop storms from coming. You can't stop people from testing you. You can't stop pain, betrayal, disappointment. But you can decide how much of yourself you let them take. You can decide whether you burn with them or stay centered while the world spins. That's control. Not a cold, emotionless calm, but a quiet strength that doesn't break no matter how loud the chaos gets. Imagine that, walking through the same pressure, the same stress, but feeling still. The noise is there, but it can't touch you. The anger rises, but it doesn't own you. The fear comes, but it doesn't paralyze you. That's not denial, that's discipline. The discipline of the mind, and it's something anyone can build if they're willing to train for it. It starts small. The next time you're triggered, don't rush to speak, don't rush to react, just breathe. Notice what's happening inside you. Feel it. Don't fight it. Just watch. That moment is your practice ground. Each time you do it, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching it patience, strength, control. It's not about perfection. It's about repetition. Every time you choose control over chaos, your mind learns. It remembers. It adapts. And slowly your instincts begin to shift. Most people think control comes from dominance, from forcing yourself to be strong. But true control isn't force. It's softness under pressure. It's knowing that no matter what happens, you remain the one who decides how you move, the one who decides what energy you give to the world. That's what separates those who crumble from those who rise. And when you finally master that, when you stop being dragged by every emotion that tries to own you, something changes. The noise quiets, the fear fades. You stop fighting yourself and start leading yourself. You start trusting your own mind, because now you're not reacting, you're commanding. Every challenge becomes a test, not a threat. Every failure becomes feedback, not defeat. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start saying, let's see what I can do with this. That shift changes everything. Because the moment you train your mind to stay steady in chaos, you become unstoppable. The world loses its power to shake you. And you finally understand what real control feels like. Calm, unbreakable, and completely yours. Control isn't something you find one day and keep forever. It's something you build, moment by moment, choice by choice. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you're building a version of yourself that's unshakable. Every time you refuse to let fear make your decisions, you're taking back ground from the part of your mind that used to own you. It's not easy, it's not supposed to be. But nothing powerful ever is. The mind doesn't change through comfort. It changes through confrontation. And right now, you're confronting the only thing that's ever truly stood in your way, your own resistance. That voice that tells you to give in, to stay angry, to stay afraid. That voice isn't you. It's the echo of every moment you've lost control before. It's the past trying to pull you back. but you've outgrown that version of yourself. You don't belong in the same loops that once defined you. You were meant to rise above them, to master them, to rewrite the story that used to own you. Because control isn't about pretending to be calm. It's about becoming someone who no longer needs to pretend. There will be moments when you'll want to break, when your patience runs dry, when everything inside you screams to react. That's the moment that defines you. Because control doesn't show up when things are easy. It shows up when everything feels impossible, when your emotions are louder than your logic, when your heart races and your thoughts blur, and you still find the strength to breathe instead of break. That's not luck. That's training. That's you becoming dangerous in the best way possible, calm under fire. The world respects that kind of power. People feel it when they're around you. They can't explain it, but they know there's something different about you. You don't get pulled into drama. You don't let chaos dictate your energy. You move with purpose, and the world starts to adjust to your rhythm. That's what happens when you master your mind. You stop chasing control and start radiating it. But to reach that level, you have to be willing to let go of the old you, the one addicted to reaction, the one that thought control was about dominance, about winning arguments, about proving a point. True control doesn't need to prove anything. It just exists, quietly, unshakably. It's a form of power that doesn't scream. It whispers, and the world listens. You've spent enough of your life letting emotions dictate the outcome. It's time to flip the script. When something goes wrong, don't let your mind spiral into panic. Pause, breathe, observe. Remind yourself that you control the meaning of what just happened. That's the secret most people never learn. You can't always control events, but you can always control what they mean to you. And the meaning decides everything. When someone disrespects you, you decide whether it ruins your peace or reveals their weakness. When you fail, you decide whether it breaks you or builds you. When you're hurt, you decide whether it hardens your heart or strengthens your discipline. That's how you win, not by escaping the storm, but by becoming the calm inside it. You were not born to be at the mercy of your emotions. You were born to command them. Every feeling, every fear, every doubt, they all bend when you stop letting them lead. And the moment you take back that control, the entire world changes. The noise fades, the chaos slows down, and for the first time, you can hear your own mind clearly, sharp, focused, powerful. That's where true confidence is born. Not in arrogance, not in pretending, but in knowing that no matter what happens, you won't break. You'll adapt, you'll adjust, you'll rise. Because your power doesn't come from control over others. It comes from control over yourself. That's what separates those who drift through life from those who dominate it. And maybe for the first time you realize control isn't a skill you learn. It's a way of being you build. Every reaction you master, every emotion you tame, every thought you choose carefully, it's all shaping you into someone extraordinary, someone unshakable, someone who moves through life with a quiet fire. That's who you're becoming. And once you reach that point, when your mind obeys your command, there's nothing and no one that can ever take that power from you again. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for control to come from somewhere else, waiting for the right time, the right mindset, the right opportunity. But control doesn't wait. It's taken. It's built through the moments you refuse to let your emotions lead, the moments you choose discipline over impulse, the moments you stay still when everything inside you is screaming to move. That's where the real transformation begins. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet, it's deliberate, and it's powerful enough to change everything. You have no idea how strong you actually are until life forces you to find out, until you're cornered by uncertainty, weighed down by pressure, tested by failure, and you realize you didn't break. You adapted. That's control. It's not about never feeling fear, anger, or doubt. It's about feeling all of it and still deciding how you'll move. That's how you separate from the crowd, because most people let emotions decide their destiny. You're here to do the opposite. You're here to train your mind until nothing owns you. Not fear, not failure, not anyone. Every time you react, you give your power away. Every time you pause, breathe, and choose, you take it back. That's the battle. Every single day, in every single moment. You won't always win, but you will always learn. And with every lesson, your mind grows sharper, stronger, harder to shake, until one day you realize what used to break you no longer moves you. What used to control you now fuels you. That's how control evolves, from something you chase to something you become. But here's the truth most people run from. Control requires sacrifice. You'll have to let go of the comfort of blame. You'll have to stop waiting for peace to find you and start creating it inside yourself. You'll have to be brutally honest about the habits that destroy your focus, the distractions that steal your energy, the excuses that feel valid but keep you small. Control isn't about perfection, it's about ownership. And ownership means no one else is responsible for how you think, feel, or act. Only you. The mind is like a muscle. It grows under pressure. The more you test it, the stronger it gets. The more you face what scares you, the more fearless you become. That's why control isn't built in calm waters, it's forged in chaos. The world will test you. People will provoke you. Life will hit you where it hurts most. And every time it does, you'll be faced with a choice, react or rise. You can either let the situation own you, or you can own the situation. That single decision will define everything. And once you've tasted that kind of control, the kind that no one can take from you, you'll never go back, because there's a certain peace that comes from knowing you don't need the world to calm down for you to stay calm. You don't need validation to know your worth. You don't need circumstances to align to feel strong. You already are. That's the kind of control that makes you unstoppable. Because when your mind is steady, nothing outside of you can shake it. But remember this, control doesn't mean suppression. It doesn't mean silence. It means precision. It means responding with intention instead of reacting from emotion. It means speaking when it matters, acting when it's right, and conserving your energy for what truly moves you forward. When you master that level of control, you stop fighting for power. You become it. The world will notice. Not because you shout louder, but because you move differently. You walk with calm in the middle of storms. You think clearly when others panic. You choose wisely when others chase validation. That kind of presence can't be faked. It's earned. And it's earned through one simple truth. Control is not found. It's trained, it's tested, it's proven through repetition, through resilience, through every single moment you choose strength over reaction. So take back your power. Refuse to be led by emotions that don't serve you. Command your thoughts before they command you. Because the mind that learns to control itself can control anything. That's your edge. That's your weapon. And the moment you claim it, everything around you starts to bend to the strength of your will. Control is no longer something you chase. It's who you are. And once you become that, the world has no choice but to follow your lead. Control is not a destination you reach. It's a battle you fight every single day. Because every day, something will try to pull you off balance. Someone will test your patience. Life will throw distractions, disappointments, and doubts your way. And in those moments, your mind will try to convince you that it's easier to give in, to react, to fall back into old patterns. But that's the exact moment you must remember who you're becoming. You're not training your mind for comfort. You're training it for command. Every test is proof that you're still in the fight. Every challenge is the weight that builds your strength. The truth is, most people never master control because they confuse emotion with weakness. But emotion is not your enemy. It's your raw power. Anger, fear, pain, all of it is energy. You can let it control you, or you can learn to direct it. The fire that burns you can also forge you. The pain that breaks you can also build you. It's not about running from what you feel. It's about mastering how you use it. The strongest people in the world are not cold. They're focused. They've learned how to turn emotion into precision, chaos into clarity, pressure into performance. You can feel it right now, can't you? That quiet voice inside that's tired of reacting, tired of losing control over the same situations, tired of repeating the same mistakes. That's your higher self calling you out. It's reminding you that you're capable of more than just surviving your emotions. You can control them, command them, and use them to fuel something greater. But that only happens when you stop running from discomfort, because the moments that test you are the very moments that shape you. You can't build strength without resistance. You can't build control without conflict. Every time you resist the urge to lash out, you build discipline. Every time you choose focus over frustration, you build clarity. Every time you stay calm when the world expects you to fall apart, you prove to yourself that you are in control. That's how mastery is formed. Not overnight, but through 1,000 small victories the world never sees. The mind you're building is powerful because it's been tested. It's been through storms and still stands tall. And that kind of strength doesn't fade. It compounds. But there's something deeper. Control is not just about peace. It's about purpose. Because once you control your mind, you can direct it towards something meaningful. You stop wasting energy on what drains you and start channeling it into what drives you. You stop reacting to noise and start creating impact. That's when control becomes creation. You no longer just survive life, you shape it. You bend circumstances to your will. You turn obstacles into opportunities. And when people look at you and wonder how you do it, the truth is simple. You trained for it. The world around you is chaotic, and it always will be. But the chaos isn't the problem. The problem is letting it decide who you are. You have to be the stillness in the storm, the calm eye that never moves no matter how strong the wind gets. Because when your mind is calm, you see things others can't. You make moves others won't. You rise while they react. That's how leaders are made, not through power, but through presence, through control. And here's the part no one tells you. Once you master control, everything else becomes easier. Focus becomes effortless. Confidence becomes natural. Fear becomes fuel. You stop waiting for the perfect moment because you realize you can handle any moment. You stop trying to control others because you've already mastered yourself. And in that mastery, you find freedom, the kind that no one can give you and no one can take away. This is what you've been training for. Not to escape chaos, but to move through it untouched. To think clearly under pressure. To choose peace when everything around you demands panic. To command yourself so completely that no situation, no person, no emotion can take your power away again. Because once you've trained your mind to stay in control, you've already won. Not just over the moment, but over everything that ever tried to control you. Control without action is just theory. You can train your mind to stay calm, but if you don't use that control to move forward, you'll stay trapped in the same place. Control was never meant to make you still. It was meant to make you unstoppable. The purpose of mastering your emotions is to free yourself from hesitation, to act with precision while everyone else is lost in confusion. Because once you can stay calm in chaos, you gain an advantage the world can't take from you. You see things clearly, you move with intention, you decide what happens next. But too many people stop there. They build control but never use it. They hold back their potential, waiting for perfect timing, waiting for certainty. And in that waiting, they waste the gift they've built. Control isn't about waiting. It's about execution. It's the difference between the person who dreams and the one who does. Because control gives you power, but action gives that power purpose. Without it, your discipline becomes a cage instead of a weapon. You already know what you need to do. The problem isn't lack of knowledge, it's lack of conviction. You don't need another plan, another strategy, another burst of motivation. You need to decide that you're done hesitating, that you're done letting fear disguise itself as logic. The moment you make that decision, control becomes momentum. Every ounce of discipline you've built starts working for you instead of against you. That's when everything changes. Because now your mind doesn't just stay calm, it commands movement. And movement is where growth happens. You won't build strength in stillness. You build it through pressure, through motion, through doing what scares you while staying in control. That's how you sharpen your edge. The world doesn't reward those who think. They reward those who act with clarity, while others are blinded by emotion. That's the game. And if you can control your inner world while taking bold action in the outer one, you become unstoppable. The truth is, control and courage are two sides of the same coin. Courage without control is chaos. Control without courage is stagnation. But when they work together, you become dangerous. You become the kind of person who moves through fear instead of being stopped by it. You don't wait for the path to clear. You walk through the fire and build your own. That's what separates the few who lead from the many who follow. Every moment of hesitation has a cost. Every time you hold back, you're reinforcing the very habits you're trying to break. And every time you act, you're carving a new path in your mind, one that leads to confidence, discipline, power. That's how you reprogram yourself, not through theory, but through repetition. Every controlled decision becomes a brick in the foundation of the person you're becoming. The stronger that foundation gets, the more unshakable you become. You've already done the hard part. You've learned to control your mind. Now comes the real test, using that control to create something extraordinary, to build, to change, to lead, because the world doesn't need more people who can stay calm. It needs people who can stay calm and act, people who move with purpose while others wait for permission. That's how revolutions begin, not with noise, but with quiet power. And make no mistake, the moment you start living this way, everything around you begins to shift. People feel your energy before you speak. They sense the focus, the certainty, the discipline. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You've trained your mind to serve you, not sabotage you. You've stopped letting emotion control your choices. You've become deliberate, intentional, and dangerously effective. But the work never stops. Control is not a one-time achievement. It's a lifelong discipline. Every day you'll be tested. Every day your patience will be challenged. And every day you'll have the choice to fall back into reaction or rise into mastery. The difference between who you are and who you're meant to be will always come down to that choice. So make the choice that moves you. Don't wait for life to give you control. Take it. Don't wait for the world to slow down. Match its chaos with your calm and your action. You've trained your mind for this moment. Now it's time to lead your life with it. Because when control meets purpose, there's nothing left to fear. There's only forward. Control is power, but purpose gives that power meaning. Because what good is mastering your mind if you're not directing it towards something that matters? Control without purpose becomes emptiness. Discipline without direction, strength without meaning. You weren't built just to survive chaos. You were built to create order out of it, to build something with your focus that outlasts the noise around you. Because once your mind is your ally, the only question left is, what will you do with it? Every second you waste doubting yourself is a second your potential fades into the background. Every day you hesitate, someone else moves forward with less talent, but more conviction. That's the harsh truth most people never face. The world doesn't reward the one who could. It rewards the one who did. You've spent enough time waiting to feel ready. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. You decide you're ready, and then you move. You take the leap, even when your hands shake, even when your heart races. Because control isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move despite it. Fear will always whisper in your ear. It will tell you you're not enough, that it's not the right time, that you'll fail again. But here's the secret. Fear only has power when you listen. When you act, it disappears. Every time you move forward while afraid, you weaken it. Every time you stop listening, you take another piece of your power back. That's how control evolves into courage, not by waiting for fear to vanish, but by learning to walk through it like it's nothing. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of your hesitation, a version that doesn't second-guess every decision, a version that doesn't flinch under pressure, a version that's calm, clear, and commanding. But that version only appears when you act. Not once, not sometimes, every single day. You build that person through repetition, through every small, deliberate moment where you refuse to let your emotions or your fears decide for you. That's the grind no one talks about. That's where transformation happens, not in sudden bursts of motivation, but in the quiet discipline of control. And it's not just about what you gain, it's about what you stop losing. Every time you lose your temper, you lose control. Every time you give in to distraction, you lose focus. Every time you let fear win, you lose time you can't get back. That's why control is sacred. It's the currency of your life. Where you spend it decides who you become. Spend it on excuses and you stay where you are. Spend it on growth and you become unstoppable. It's that simple. You already have the power to command your mind, but now it's time to command your life, to take that focus and aim it at something bigger than yourself, because control becomes unstoppable when it serves a mission, when it's not just about you, but about what you can build, who you can impact, what legacy you can leave behind. Purpose fuels discipline, and discipline turns dreams into reality. That's the formula most people never figure out. The moment you tie your control to your purpose, something shifts. Your actions stop being forced, they become natural. You don't need motivation anymore because you built identity. You don't have to push yourself. You've become the kind of person who moves forward by default. That's the highest level of control. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned towards something greater than comfort. But understand this, the world will still test you. It will try to pull you off your path, to make you question everything you've built. It will tempt you with distraction, with doubt, with fear. That's when you dig deeper. That's when you remind yourself that control isn't a mood, it's a choice. And no one can take that choice from you unless you hand it over. This is your reminder that mastery isn't found in the big moments. It's forged in the small ones. Every breath you control, every thought you redirect, every emotion you transform, that's you taking your life back piece by piece. You're not here to be a victim of circumstance. You're here to be a creator of outcomes. Because when your mind serves your purpose and your purpose drives your action, nothing can stop you. Not the fear, not the doubt, not the world. You've trained for this. Now it's time to live like it. Control isn't about suppressing what you feel. It's about mastering what you allow to lead you. Most people react. They move when something pushes them. They speak when emotion drives them. They quit when it gets hard. But control means you act with intention. You choose when to move, when to stay still, when to strike. That's power, the kind that doesn't come from force, but from awareness. When you can stay calm while others panic, focused while others scatter, you become untouchable. The world no longer dictates how you feel or who you are. You do. But control takes practice. You don't build it in comfort. You build it in chaos. Every test, every challenge, every setback is training. Life will keep throwing you moments designed to break your focus. People will test your patience. Circumstances will test your resolve. And fear will whisper in your mind, trying to pull you off balance. That's when you decide. You either fall into the storm or you become the calm inside it. You can't fake that composure. It's built one decision at a time. Every time you choose patience over anger, discipline over impulse, silence over reaction, you grow stronger. Because control is like a muscle. It strengthens with resistance. The harder it gets, the more power you build. The more chaos you face without losing yourself, the more dangerous you become, not to others, but to your own weakness. That's what true mastery looks like. You stop fighting the world and start mastering your internal state. The mind becomes quiet, sharp, steady. You no longer waste energy on things that don't deserve it. You stop reacting to noise and start moving with purpose. That's when your power begins to compound. And when that happens, something changes. The same situations that once overwhelmed you now feel small. The same problems that once broke you now feel like practice. You begin to realize it was never about controlling the world. It was about controlling how you show up in it. That shift changes everything. Because when you control yourself, you can adapt to anything. You can face failure and not lose confidence. You can face uncertainty and not lose clarity. You can face betrayal and not lose compassion. That's not weakness. That's dominance over your emotions. But here's the truth most people run from. Control demands sacrifice. You can't master your mind and keep your comfort. You can't train focus and feed distraction. You can't become disciplined and still chase instant gratification. Control means choosing what matters most over what feels good now. It means walking away from noise, from drama, from anything that weakens your peace. That's how you build inner strength. Not by adding more, but by removing what drains you. You stop negotiating with your excuses and start holding yourself accountable. That's when the transformation becomes real. There's a power that comes. When you realize you don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You don't have to react every time someone tries to pull you into chaos. You can choose silence. You can choose focus. You can choose to stay grounded in who you are. That's the kind of strength that rattles people because they can't control someone who's in control of themselves. They can't manipulate calm. They can't shake discipline. And the more you master that calm, the more the world begins to bend around you. You start to move differently, think differently, see differently. You stop rushing. You start creating. You stop doubting. You start deciding. Every moment becomes a choice. Every thought, every reaction, every word. You no longer live by emotion. You live by intention. That's where freedom begins. So ask yourself, how much longer will you let your emotions drive your life? How much time will you keep giving to distractions, to anger, to fear? You've spent enough energy being pulled around by the noise. It's time to take it back. You have the ability to control your focus, your emotions, your reality. And when you control your inner world, nothing outside can break you. The chaos may continue, but inside, you'll remain still, sharp, and unshakable. Because real control isn't about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself. And once you do that, there's nothing left that can stand in your way. You don't rise by avoiding pressure. You rise by walking straight into it and refusing to break. That's what control truly means, not the absence of fear, but the ability to face it without flinching. Every challenge that shakes you is actually shaping you. Every setback that frustrates you is polishing the edges of your discipline. You can't train strength in silence and peace. Strength is built in the fire. When everything inside you screams to quit, but you stay, that's where mastery begins. In the moments where your emotions want to take over, but your mind refuses to hand over the keys. Most people live as prisoners of their impulses. They're controlled by what they feel instead of controlling what they allow to grow. Anger drives them, fear holds them. Doubt whispers lies into their minds, and they listen. But not you. You're here because some part of you knows there's more. Because you've seen what happens when you lose control. When you say things you regret, when you make choices that cost you peace, when you let the noise pull you from your path. You felt the damage of being ruled by chaos, and now you're done with it. You're learning to pause before reacting, to think before speaking, to breathe before breaking. That's not weakness, that's evolution. It's the moment your higher self starts leading, not your emotions. And once you taste that level of control, you'll never go back. Because nothing feels better than knowing you have power over yourself, your thoughts, your habits, your reactions. That's where real freedom begins. You stop needing the world to calm down for you to feel calm. You stop needing people to change for you to stay peaceful. You become self-sufficient, untouchable. But here's the truth. Most people won't tell you control isn't glamorous. It's quiet. It's lonely. It's built in those private moments where no one is watching. It's waking up early when you don't want to. It's holding your tongue when your ego burns to speak. It's showing restraint when everything inside you wants revenge, validation, or release. It's not a moment of victory. It's 1,000 small battles won against yourself. That's why few people ever reach that level, because it's not easy to master what's inside when the world keeps trying to pull you apart. Yet, that's exactly why it's worth it. Because when you master control, you no longer need to chase strength. It radiates from you. People will notice it. The way you walk, the way you respond, the way you stay centered when others fall apart. They'll wonder how you do it. They won't understand that your calm isn't born from luck. It's built from pain, from discipline, from countless moments you chose peace over panic. You learned to see emotions as signals, not commands. You stopped letting them drive and started using them as fuel. That's what separates the powerful from the ordinary. The world belongs to those who can control themselves under pressure. Because pressure exposes truth. It shows who's pretending and who's prepared. When life tests you, control will be your weapon. It will protect your energy. It will sharpen your focus. It will keep you grounded when everything else feels unstable. The storm may surround you, but inside, there's stillness. That's where real strength lives, in that unshakable stillness that no one can take from you. So when the noise rises again, when the world tempts you to react, remember who you're becoming. Remember what you're building. Every time you hold your composure, you reclaim a piece of yourself. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you rise a little higher. You are training your mind to lead, not follow, to see beyond emotion, to move with purpose. And if you stay consistent, something beautiful happens. The chaos no longer controls you. You control the chaos. You don't run from discomfort anymore. You use it. You don't seek peace from the outside. You carry it within you. That's what true control gives you. The power to move through life untouched by its turbulence. The power to act with clarity when others are lost in confusion. The power to own yourself completely. Because when your mind is steady, there's nothing left to fear. The world bends to those who have mastered themselves. and you are becoming one of them. Control is not about perfection. It's about direction. It's about knowing who you are when everything around you is trying to make you forget. The world is loud. It will try to drag you into its chaos, to make you react, to make you lose focus. Every distraction, every argument, every fear, it's all bait. The moment you take it, you hand over your power. But the one who remains still, the one who doesn't take the bait, becomes unstoppable, because control isn't about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally intelligent, understanding your feelings, but not being ruled by them. That's where real confidence is born. Quiet, unshakable, absolute. You have to train your mind to pause before you react, to breathe before you decide. That small gap between impulse and action is where your future is built. Most people live in reaction. They explode, they panic, they give up too soon. But you're learning to operate differently. You're training your mind to think before it moves. You're teaching your emotions that they don't make the decisions. You do. Every time you do that, you rewrite the story of who you are. You stop being controlled by the world and start controlling how you move through it. That's why control feels so rare, because it requires patience in a world that celebrates speed. It demands silence in a world addicted to noise. It asks you to stand your ground when everyone else runs. Control doesn't show up when life is easy. It shows up when everything falls apart and you refuse to. That's when you realize what you're made of. When pain hits, when stress builds, when uncertainty consumes you, and yet you keep your head clear. That's control. That's real strength. And here's the truth most people ignore. You can't fake calm. You can't pretend to be centered when your mind is chaos. True composure can't be performed. It's earned through repetition, through choosing discipline again and again, even when it hurts, through doing the hard thing when your emotions beg for the easy way out, through being kind when you want revenge, through staying focused when everything distracts you, through trusting the process when nothing makes sense. That's the quiet work no one sees, but it's the foundation of everything powerful you'll ever build. When you master control, your perception changes. You stop fighting the world and you start understanding it. You see that most chaos is just noise trying to distract you from your path. You stop chasing reactions and start creating outcomes. You stop letting external circumstances define your internal state. And suddenly, you're free. Not because life gets easier, but because you've learned how to stay steady when it doesn't. That's the shift most never experience, because they keep waiting for peace to appear instead of building it within. Control gives you something no one else can give you. Certainty. Certainty in yourself. The kind that doesn't shake when things go wrong. The kind that doesn't crumble when you fail. The kind that doesn't vanish when people disappoint you. You know who you are. You know what you stand for. And no one can take that from you. That's the kind of strength that changes lives. Because when you operate from peace instead of panic, everything becomes clear. Your goals, your decisions, your direction. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. But the truth is, control will always be tested. The world will push you. People will trigger you. Life will surprise you. You'll fall. You'll get angry. You'll lose focus. But control isn't about never slipping. It's about catching yourself faster every time you do. It's about awareness, growth, consistency. Every time you realign, you build resilience. You build proof that you're stronger than the noise. And soon, what used to shake you no longer even moves you. That's evolution. That's freedom. So don't chase control as if it's something you find once and keep forever. Control is a practice, a daily discipline, a decision you make again and again, especially when it's hardest. It's what separates those who drift from those who lead, those who survive from those who rise. You already have that power inside you, the power to stay calm, clear, and unshakable, no matter what life throws at you. You just have to keep choosing it, because when your mind obeys you, nothing can stop you. And once you reach that level, the world doesn't control you. You control how the world affects you. That's real power. That's mastery. Control is a choice you make in every moment. When life presses against you, when everything feels uncertain, when the weight of frustration builds inside your chest, that's the moment that defines you. Not the easy moments, not the calm ones. The ones that demand strength, when you feel none left, because anyone can appear strong when things are simple, but real power is revealed when chaos surrounds you and you still choose to breathe, to think, to move with purpose. That's the moment you prove to yourself that you are no longer a slave to circumstance. You've become something more, something deliberate, focused, unstoppable. The mind will try to betray you. It will whisper reasons to give up. It will tell you that you've done enough, that it's too hard, that it doesn't matter. But you have to understand something. It's lying to protect your comfort. Your brain doesn't want growth. It wants safety. It wants familiar patterns, predictable emotions, and the illusion of control. But true control doesn't live in comfort. It lives in confrontation. You must face your emotions head on. You must feel the urge to react and still choose restraint. You must feel the chaos rise and still choose clarity. That's how you retrain the mind to serve you instead of sabotage you. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you rewire yourself. You teach your brain that it doesn't get to lead. You do. That small shift changes everything. You start noticing how much energy you use to waste on things that didn't deserve it. You stop feeding arguments that don't grow you. You stop fighting battles that don't matter. You learn to let go without losing your strength. You learn that silence can be louder than anger. You realize that calmness isn't weakness, it's precision. It's control sharpened into something so powerful that nothing external can shake it. But control demands awareness. You can't master what you don't notice. You have to see your triggers before they see you. You have to catch your thoughts before they turn into emotion. You have to notice when fear begins to build before it becomes action. That's where transformation begins, in awareness, in watching your thoughts like a warrior standing guard at the gates of your mind. Because once you see the patterns, you can change them. Once you see how quickly emotion hijacks reason, you can slow it down. That pause, that single second of awareness can change everything. And when you master that pause, you step into a new level of strength. You stop living on autopilot. You stop being pulled by invisible strings. You begin to design your state, your focus, your life. That's when people start noticing a shift in you. They can feel it, the way you move, the way you handle pressure, the way you don't flinch when things fall apart. You become the steady presence others lean on. You become the calm in the storm. That's not arrogance. It's alignment. You're no longer controlled by emotion. You're powered by purpose. But remember this, control doesn't mean suppression. You're not killing your emotions. You're commanding them. Anger, fear, doubt. They all have a purpose when used wisely. Control means channeling them instead of being consumed by them. Using them to build, not destroy. To focus, not scatter. To grow, not retreat. That's how you turn pain into fuel and resistance into strength. Because the emotions you once ran from will become the very tools that sharpen your edge. Life will never stop testing you. The world will keep throwing distractions, noise, and chaos your way. But with each test, you'll notice something. You're no longer reacting the same way. The noise doesn't get in. The pressure doesn't break you. The chaos doesn't move you. You see everything clearly, calmly, intentionally. That's when you realize that control isn't about dominating the world. It's about mastering yourself so completely that the world can no longer dominate you. And once you reach that state, life changes. You stop chasing peace because you've become it. You stop chasing power because you already hold it. You move through the world with quiet certainty, knowing that nothing and no one can shake the balance you've built inside. That's what it means to be in control. Not to control everything around you, but to master everything within you. That's the level few ever reach. That's the level you were built for. Control isn't something you stumble into, it's something you forge. Every day you're given moments to test it. The moment you feel disrespected, the moment life doesn't go as planned, the moment someone pushes your limits just to see how far you'll go. Those moments aren't accidents, they're training. They're asking you one question: who's really in charge, you or your emotions? Because the truth is, life won't wait for you to be ready. It will hit you in the middle of the chaos and expect you to hold your ground. And if you can stand in the fire without losing your balance, that's when you've crossed from reaction to mastery. Most people never get there. They let their emotions make their choices. Anger decides their words. Fear dictates their future. Doubt keeps them frozen. And they wonder why they never feel free. But control changes that. It breaks the cycle. It rewires the mind to respond instead of react, to think before speaking, to pause before deciding, to feel everything but be ruled by nothing. That's the mark of someone who's dangerous, not because they destroy, but because they can't be destroyed. You can't break someone who governs their own emotions. You can't manipulate someone who's not dependent on external calm. That's real power, the kind that can't be taken, only built. But here's the part no one likes to face. Control costs something. It costs ego. It costs comfort. It costs the temporary satisfaction of being right. You'll have to bite your tongue when you want to scream. You'll have to walk away when your pride tells you to fight. You'll have to let go when your heart wants to hold on. Control is a sacrifice of the short term for the strength of the long term. It's saying no to emotional indulgence so you can say yes to peace. Most people can't handle that. They'd rather react and regret than pause and grow. But not you, because you've seen what losing control costs. You've lived it, and you're done paying that price. The truth is, control feels lonely at first. When you stop engaging in the chaos, you'll realize how addicted the world is to it. People will try to pull you back in. They'll mistake your calm for weakness. They'll test your patience to see if it's real. But your silence will speak louder than any reaction ever could. Because control isn't about proving anything to others. It's about proving everything to yourself. It's the quiet victory that no one claps for, but changes everything about how you move. It's the invisible strength that radiates from someone who doesn't need to prove their power. They embody it. And when you reach that point, something inside you shifts. You start valuing your peace more than your pride. You start noticing how little control others actually have, how easily they're provoked, how quickly they crumble under pressure. And instead of judging them, you understand them. Because you've been there. You know what it feels like to be ruled by chaos. But now, you've stepped beyond it. You've learned that real strength is control over self, not dominance over others. It's the ability to remain calm when everything screams for reaction. It's the power to choose stillness in a world that thrives on noise. You'll find that control doesn't limit your emotions, it deepens them. You start to feel everything more clearly, love without attachment, anger without destruction, fear without paralysis. You become sharper, more aware, more deliberate. You no longer drown in your emotions, you swim through them with precision. That's when control turns into wisdom. You don't just survive life anymore. You navigate it with purpose. You lead your thoughts instead of following them. You steer your energy where it matters most. And that's when everything changes. Life doesn't get easier, but you become stronger. People don't stop testing you, but they stop affecting you. The world doesn't quiet down, but you no longer need it to. Because control gives you something nothing else can: freedom. The freedom to act with clarity, to think with power, to move with intention. The freedom to live without being pulled by every emotion or situation. That's the kind of power no one can touch. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's silent, steady, and absolute. The kind of control that doesn't just change how you handle life, it changes who you are within it. Control is not about suppressing what you feel. It's about mastering it. The strongest people aren't the ones who never feel anger, fear, or doubt. They're really the ones who face those emotions and refuse to let them decide their actions. Every time you hold your ground, when everything inside you wants to break, you train your mind to become stronger. Every time you breathe through the chaos instead of feeding it, you're proving to yourself that you're in charge. And that's where real freedom begins. Not in avoiding pain, but in standing in it without losing yourself. You weren't born with control. You build it through struggle, through failure, through moments that make you question your worth. Each one is a test designed to teach you something vital: how to stay calm in the storm. Life isn't supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to challenge, because comfort never builds power. Resistance does. Every time life pushes, you have a choice: collapse or rise. The more you rise, the more unshakable you become. The world doesn't owe you calm. You create it inside yourself. And once you do, nothing outside of you can take it away. Most people are slaves to reaction. They speak before thinking. They act before understanding. They destroy what they love because they can't manage what they feel. That's not strength. That's chaos disguised as passion. Real strength is restraint. It's knowing you could explode but choosing silence. It's watching someone try to drag you down and smiling because you know who you are. That's control, not the absence of emotion, but the dominance of reason. It's what separates those who live with purpose from those who live in patterns. And it's not easy. You will fail. You will lose control and regret it. But that's part of the training. Every moment you fall is an opportunity to rise stronger. Every failure is a lesson in disguise. You don't learn control when everything's peaceful. You learn it when your blood is boiling, your heart is racing, and your mind is screaming to react. That's when you remind yourself, I decide what happens next. And that single thought changes everything. Because once your mind believes it has a choice, you stop being a victim of emotion and start being a master of it. There will be people who test your patience, circumstances that push your limits, days that make you question if all this discipline is worth it. It is. Because control is the foundation of self-respect. It's the proof that you value yourself enough not to hand your power to chaos. When you stay calm, you confuse the world. You take away its ability to manipulate you. You show that you can't be shaken by noise. And that quiet power, that stillness is more intimidating than rage will ever be. When you start mastering control, something shifts inside you. You stop needing to win every argument. You stop chasing validation. You stop reacting to negativity. You move differently, slower, calmer, clearer. You begin to understand that peace is the highest form of power, because peace means you've stopped fighting everything that's out of your control and started focusing on what is your response. That's where life changes. When you no longer give energy to what drains you, when your emotions serve your purpose, not sabotage it. But control isn't something you practice once. It's a lifelong discipline. It's waking up every day and deciding, I run this mind. It's choosing to respond with wisdom, not weakness. It's reminding yourself that nothing and no one can make you react unless you allow it. That awareness becomes your armor. Your calm becomes your weapon, and your focus becomes unstoppable. Because when your mind is disciplined, your life follows. You stop living by emotion and start leading with intention. And that's the ultimate form of power. Not controlling others, but mastering yourself. The world may still test you, but it can no longer shake you. People may still disappoint you, but they can't define you. Chaos may still surround you, but it can't reach you. Because you've built something unbreakable inside. Control isn't just a skill, it's a way of life. It's the difference between surviving and conquering, between existing and evolving. And once you've trained your mind to control in every situation, you don't just face the world, you lead it. Control is not a skill you learn once and keep forever. It's a battle you fight every single day, in silence, within your own mind. Every moment life tries to pull you off balance. Your reactions reveal who's really in charge, you or your emotions. The person who learns to stay centered when everything falls apart becomes unstoppable. Because control isn't about power over the world, it's power over yourself. When you can face chaos and remain calm, you've already won a war most people don't even know they're fighting. The truth is, life will always test you. It will push your limits, challenge your patience, and tempt you to react. The world thrives on reaction. It wants you angry, impulsive, distracted. But control is rebellion. It's refusing to give the world that satisfaction. When you stay calm in moments of chaos, you take away its ability to control you. You become unpredictable, untouchable. That's how strength is built, not by avoiding storms, but by learning to stand still inside them. Every emotion that tries to control you is an opportunity. Fear is an invitation to courage. Anger is a call for patience. Doubt is a chance to prove your belief. Most people let these emotions dictate their behavior. But when you pause, when you take that breath before reacting, you shift from being a puppet of emotion to the master of it. That single moment of awareness separates the weak from the powerful. Control begins in that pause. And it's not about being emotionless, it's about transforming energy. You don't suppress anger, you channel it into focus. You don't bury fear, you use it to sharpen your awareness. You don't deny pain, you turn it into discipline. Everything you feel can serve you if you command it. But if you let emotions take the wheel, they'll drive you straight into destruction. That's why control isn't a choice, it's survival. Without it, you drift through life reacting, regretting, repeating. With it, you move with clarity and purpose. When you start mastering control, people will notice. They'll try to provoke you, test you, pull you into their chaos. But the more they try, the calmer you become. Because you understand something they don't. Your peace is your greatest weapon. The moment you stop defending your emotions and start directing them, you become untouchable. That silence they mistake for weakness is actually strength. That patience they think is passivity is power. Control doesn't shout, it dominates quietly. You'll have days when you lose it, moments when you break. But those aren't signs of failure. They're reminders you're still in training. Control is built in those moments when you want to give in but don't. It's built when your mind screams to react, but you choose restraint. Each time you resist, your willpower grows. Each time you choose calm over chaos, you reinforce your strength. Over time, that strength becomes instinct. You stop needing to prove yourself. You stop being ruled by noise.